Because you are intelligent and you realize that there is only God. There is nothing but God. All things are God. God is energy, frequency, and vibration. Thank you, Tesla. And in that order, energy. The universe is abundant with infinite energy. Energy is number one. Conscious energy. Nothing is not conscious. Every atom is conscious. Every atom on your nose, every hair here that you see, every atom in my eye, they're all conscious because they are all self-similar fractally from the microcosm through the mesocosm to the macrocosm. Everything is exactly the same. It's all fractals. You go all the way up to the big solar system, you go all the way back down to an atom, and you'll find that it's all electromagnetic. Magnetism is the mother of electricity. Magnetism is 10 billion times more powerful than electricity. Magnetism is the longitudinal wave. It doesn't vibrate. That's why vibration is at the end. You've got energy, frequency, vibration. Vibration is a wave. The waveform is what makes time and space, because the pulse, there's no time and space in the pulse. This is why quantum physicists spew out so much rubbish when they talk about wave-particle universe. It's a wave-particle universe. Well, Walter Russell said, and all the great geniuses said, there are no particles. When you see light hitting your eye, it's not a particle. Otherwise, at the end of the day, you'd have to wipe all the particles out and flush them down the sink. There's no particles. They're frequencies. They're pulses. It's a pulse wave universe. It's not a particle wave universe because there are no particles. They're doing black magic. They've had devices from Atlantis, from the days of Atlantis and technology. That's how they wiped out Tartaria. They wiped out the magnetic free grid, and then they set up the electrical grid, and now we've got dams and power stations and nuclear stations giving us electricity which we pay for, which we don't have to because energy is free. I mean, everything's energy. I can, with a device in my hand, I can draw magnetism from the ether because that's what the ether is. It's magnetism. They know that the secret to free energy is magnetism, but they don't want to talk about magnetism. They just seem to avoid magnetism. And they love electricity. El, the god El, the false god. Because see, electricity is a hybrid. It's a wave. And waves are finite. They have a use-by date, or they have a decay factor in them. You see, the transverse wave is electricity. The longitudinal wave is magnetism. Remember, magnetism is 10 billion times more powerful than electricity. Thank you, Steinmetz, Maxwell, Faraday, Walter Russell, thank you for that fact. All of my presentations are based on magnetism and astrology. It's the science of understanding magnetism. They have, at CERN, they have technology that what they're doing is they're creating vortices, portholes, wormholes to hyperspace or counter space. Ken Wheeler likes to use the word counter space, so do I. Quantum physicists call it hyperspace. Philosophers call it the metaphysical. Some people call it the supernatural. We have the natural world, what we can see, and then we have the supernatural, which is invisible. All of those words mean the same thing. The magnetic world is spiritual, invisible. The electrical world is physical, visible, tangible, and it is temporal, which means it's not eternal. You will die, I will die, this house will crumble, the earth eventually will dissolve. All of the forms that you've ever seen, all the beautiful girls, all the beautiful trees, beautiful mountains, good-looking men, good-looking animals, all of them will transition through the electrical wave, time-space, reality, simulation, and then go back to the magnetic, counterspatial, true world, which is virtually exactly the same as this world, but the activity there is transcendental. It's not physical. So you don't have any conditions. Here we are conditioned. We have to go to the bathroom, we have to eat, we have to go to work, we have to sleep. There's so many things we are conditioned and limited by, that we have to do. What they're doing at CERN is what the Freemasons do with their technology. They make egregores. They open wormholes to bring transdimensional evil beings that resonate at their frequency, so that that is now their God, and they follow the orders of that God. You see, we think George Soros and Klaus Schwab and the Clintons and Kissinger and all of these guys are running the world at Davos and the CFR and the Bilderbergers and the Jesuits. But they have their boss, and they actually invited that boss. Well, it's a bit of both. That boss, that demon entity, was attracted to this earth because humans have souls. We're like a battery. We're like an energy source for these parasitic demon entities that actually work through the elite family bloodlines. So they've got bosses as well. I mean, they're in the same trap. They're like wardens of a jail. They're still in the jail. You know, if you've got the top position in the jail, it doesn't matter because you're still in jail, you know. So everyone's in jail by this egregore. But see, when Christ returns, which means when you and I awake and enough people awaken and we hit critical mass, then that egregore must, by law, universal law, depart. And now is the final stages of those egregore demons